All right. I saw a funny meme about holidays were full of cheese. So we're going to avoid twisting a little bit today. But we will go upside down. We will try to back bend, and we'll see what else happens. So let's bring the hands together. Inhale. And on your exhale, just lower your arms by your sides. Inhale to reach up. Lower the arms, exhale. Again, just like that, reach up, but don't back bend. Arms down, exhale. And reach up for your inhale. This time we'll stay there, but we'll flex the wrist. So the palms face the ceiling. Press up through the wrists. At the same time, drop your tailbone down toward your feet. Reach up a little bit higher. Your shoulders will shrug up toward your ears as you press harder up. Take one more breath, belly in. And on your exhale, lower the arms by your sides. Inhale to reach up again. This time, fold forward for your exhale. You can bend the knees if you want. Inhale, halfway up. And just step to downward dog. Straight arms, straight legs. Shake out your head and neck. Inhale, forward to plank. Pretend you're squeezing a block with your forearms. Press to downward dog again, exhale. Twice more like that. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale to press back. Inhale, forward. So it's pretty easy to squeeze the block or that concept when you're in plank. In downward dog, it's a little harder. You have to rotate your shoulders more. Just see if you can do that. And let's start walking feet forward. Keep the arms straight as you walk forward. And when you get to the spot where you feel as far forward as you want your feet to go, just lift your heels an inch or so off the floor. Gaze down to a spot between your thumbs. Draw the belly in. Let's lower the heels and fold for an exhale. Come all the way up. Inhale. Lower the arms by the sides. Exhale. Bend into the knees. Ustrasana. Inhale. So this is a back bend. And fold forward, melt your chest to your thighs as you exhale. Your legs can stay bent there if you want. Inhale, halfway up. And step to down dog again, exhale. Let's lift the heels up high. And spin them to the right so your toes face the left. And bend the right knee so you have all that weight in your left foot. And press through both hands. And with this kind of asymmetry in the hip, you might notice more weight in one hand than the other. Try to even it out and squeeze your forearms toward one another. And lift the heels up and over to the other side. So it's pretty easy to make this shape, but to do it in a way that keeps your hands pressing equally, keeps you focused on that midline, that is not so easy. Let's come up and through center, lower the heels, and start to walk feet forward. We're going to do the same thing we did with the heels lifted. So decide where you want your feet to be in relation to your hands. And lift the heels, lean your weight forward just slightly so you feel your fingers start to activate. They claw the floor as soon as you go into that realm of the balance. When you get your shoulders far enough forward. And bring your heels to the floor again. Fold. And let's roll up, keeping the head heavy and the arms heavy until eventually we are stacked and standing. Bend into the knees, Ustrasana again. Fold as you exhale, melt the chest to the thighs, which the straighter your legs get, the harder that is to do. Inhale, halfway up. And step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing for your inhale. Downward facing for your exhale. We'll just walk hands to feet. And bring the hands under the feet, Padahastasana, toes by the wrists. You can keep the knees bent, especially since this is early on in the class to do such a pose. But also keeping the knees bent might help you link your chest and thighs in a way that brings you a little more attention about drawing the belly in. Okay, hands to the floor again, flat. Walk into your downward dog. We'll lift the heels high from there. Inhale. Bend the knees. Exhale. Look forward and jump. Inhale when you get to the top. Fold. Exhale. Bend into the knees. Utkatasana. Inhale. Now let's bring the hands to prayer. Just lift your right knee up toward your chest. So you're in sort of, I don't know, what we would stereotype as like a kung fu move, since we know nothing about kung fu. Then with slow intention, lean into a warrior three, and gently step that foot back to your lunge. Reach up for an inhale, touch your thumbs to the back of your neck for an exhale. Arms straight again, inhale. Notice how close your upper arms get. When you exhale to touch the back of your neck, they might just open a little bit. Inhale, reach up, but we're still squeezing in. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, reach up. And hands to prayer again for the exhale. We'll bring that right knee again to the chest from whence we came. And lower the foot, Utkatasana, just for the other side. Left knee in. You'll notice your back rounds when you bring the knee in. So you went from that Utkatasana to this different shape. Let's extend it into a warrior three. You can keep your standing leg bent if you want. We're just passing through here so that we can gracefully step to a lunge and reach up. If your foot didn't land where you want, just adjust. Bend the elbows for your exhale. Reach up for your inhale. 2 more times like that. Try to keep moving your upper arms and your elbows further back. So there's never a moment where it's just done. They're always progressing. After that third one, hands to prayer. Launch the back leg forward, knee to the chest. Foot down, knees together, Utkatasana, arms up. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway up, inhale. Step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Downward facing, exhale. Feel free to stay here. Or we're going to step the right foot in about halfway. We'll lean our shoulders over our hands. We'll lift the left leg up and just try to touch our right toes to our left inner knee. Looking down between the thumbs and keeping the arms as straight as we can. And I stayed for a bit and then I lost it and came back into it. Let's meet in downward dog again. We will do the other side eventually, but not just yet. And after your exhale, step or jump, feet to hands. Inhale when you're there. Fold, exhale. Bend into the knees, Utkatasana. Right knee up, hands to prayer. Extend the leg back. Find that grace and gently step the foot all the way down. Spin the heel for a warrior one. Let's interlace the fingers for steeple mudra and try to pull that right arm a little bit higher up so that we feel more stretch through the right psoas, hip flexors. Okay, hands to prayer, spin the back heel up, knee to the chest. And foot down for your Ustrasana, and left side knee up. So you'll feel the back kind of round, and you'll scoop the belly for that position. And when you extend to warrior three, it's neutral. So you have to keep drawing your belly up so you defy gravity. Step back for your warrior one. Steeple mudra, reach up. And the right hand is essentially going to pull your left hand up higher. Then maybe you can even bend your right knee a little bit more. Good, and let's bring hands to prayer. Left knee to the chest, scoop. Foot to the floor, knees touch, feet touch, reach up. And we'll fold forward, exhale. Chest toward thighs if you can. Inhale halfway. Step or jump, chaturanga. Exhale. Lift the chest, inhale. Lift the hips, exhale, and either stay there or we'll do the other side for the handstand where we bring our bottom foot, big toe to touch, top inner knee. So we step, I think it's this time, we step the left foot forward, lean your shoulders forward, and you're gonna reach with that right leg. Remember all the reaching we did yesterday? So apply that here. I always say that there's not enough time in a class, and I've noticed that it's handy to have a few classes in a row because then we can do the same kind of concept. So make your way down whenever you can. Walk your hands back toward your feet. Handstands again. Hands under the feet, palms face up, toes by wrists. So you're getting a hamstring stretch here. We're drawing the bandhas in, Uddiyana Bandha especially, in and up. And we're stretching through the wrists, getting some relief. Let's return to downward dog. And as we're going to the handstands today, if you have any wrist issues, just do it from either headstand or pincha. It will be the same. Yesterday we did it from headstand and we concentrated on the top leg. But it's the same concept. Okay, after your exhale, step, walk, or jump forward. Inhale at the top. Fold, exhale, chest toward thighs. Bend the knees, Ustrasana. Right knee comes in, round your back. Find your warrior three momentarily. And step into your warrior one. This time we'll interlace fingers behind the back. I bend the elbows in order to get that position and kind of roll the shoulders back so that when we straighten the arms, it feels like the chest and the pectoral muscles are really being emphasized. Okay, release hands to prayer again. Back heel spins up, back knee to the chest. So find your abdominals to do this for you. So it's not just flinging your legs around. Lower the right foot, lift the left. So it's really curling from the low abs. Extend the left leg back, warrior three. Place the foot for warrior one. And interlace the fingers behind the back. If you can, the way that feels a little awkward. And it should feel a bit like the bottom tips of your shoulder blades are poking up into the back of your heart. Okay, let's bring the hands to prayer again.
Cooking
back
and
knee
yoga.
to the chest, curl, foot to the floor, arms up. Here's your back bend, and fold, straight legs, forward bend.
Is this cooking and yoga class?
Bend, step or jump, chaturanga, neutral back. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. All right, let's do the same thing with handstands. So step 1 foot forward, lean the shoulders forward, and as you lift up and try to touch your toe to your inner knee, think more about your leg reaching up to the ceiling. So it's not actually aiming for the wall behind you. Before you do the second side, return to your downward dog. Let's step the right foot forward for Anjaneyasana. We'll do the second side momentarily. But we got to give our little handsies a rest. Let's take cactus arms. And you'll have your elbows and hands kind of on the same plane. Let's start to take that plane back a little bit. Like you're trying to get your knuckles to touch behind you. Either stay here or extend your arms out straight. I'm just going to face this way because I will hit the counter. So the arms would just come out to the side, palms up. And that's a different stretch through the biceps. It feels pretty awesome. Either stay like that or start to extend your fingers down toward the ground under your hips, which just changes it again slightly. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. We'll return to downward dog so that we can do the other side, touching the toe to the inner knee. So the knee that's bending is still going to face the small edge of your mat. So it's not a passe ballet. Make sure you're not looking too far forward because we don't want to have a big back bend. Same idea as in Pincha. If you look too far forward, you'll be in a big back bend. Lara, it's possible your hands are too far apart. I can see part of your arm, but not all of them. So we don't want them to be any further than down dog. Good, so Ashley, aim for the ceiling a little more than that wall. And let's meet in down dog again. So that we can do Anjaneyasana on the other side. Left foot will step forward, right knee will come down. And we start with our cactus arms. And take a look at your arms, because sometimes your cactus, not just you, all of us, it will be too far like this or too far like this. So try to level it all out. Very precise, kind of anal retentive cactus arms. Then take it all back as a unit. So not just the elbows, not just the hands, everything. And that'll get into the armpits a little bit better. If you stay there, there's plenty happening. Or arms straight, palms up. We did this once not too long ago. It's like you have sandbags on your thumbs. Either stay like that or fingertips down underneath your hips. They may or may not actually touch the floor. Okay, and let's press to downward dog when it's convenient for you. After your exhale, step, walk, or jump, feet to hands. Inhale at the top. Exhale to fold, melt the chest to the thighs, the head to the shins. Bend the knees for Ustrasana. Inhale. And we'll bring our right knee up so that we can extend to warrior 3 just briefly. And step to your lunge. Pivot around for your warrior 2 with the right leg bent. And when you pivot around, you might also have to adjust the length of your stance, because when we step back, it doesn't always land in the perfect spot. Let's straighten the leg for the front leg for an inhale, bend it again for an exhale. Just one more like that. Inhale and exhale. Right elbow to thigh. We're going to reach the left arm forward so that we can see it. We'll plug the arm into the socket by rolling the shoulder back and reach forward to take the arm out of the socket. Just do that one more time. Roll the shoulder back as much as it goes and bring it forward as much as it goes. We'll roll it back and keep it there. And with the arm in the socket, extend over the ear for your Parsvakonasana. Bottom elbow either stays there or hand comes down. So this arm in the socket concept is much easier to perform than the leg in the socket concept, but we will in a few minutes attempt the leg as well. Let's turn this into triangle with that left arm staying over the ear. So we'll just straighten the right leg. Your hand can stay on the floor or it can jump up onto the ankle or the shin. Press the left hip back as you reach the arm away. Okay, inhale to rise up. We'll pivot around so you're in your lunge with the left leg bent. Bring the right knee in toward the chest and lower the foot for your legs of Utkatasana. Then the other side, left knee comes up. We extend the leg back. We're reaching with the toes and we land the foot. Pivot around, find your warrior two. We'll straighten the left leg, inhale. Bend, exhale. Straighten, inhale. And bend, exhale. Elbow to thigh, right arm forward so you can actually see the movement, the shoulder. Just do this about twice, kind of the big experiment. The next time that your arm is back, extend over the ear. And you'll feel this stretch potentially through the whole waist, the psoas. It's a pretty awesome stretch. So long as you feel that reach with the hand and the pushing down with the foot. We'll turn it into triangle by straightening the left leg. We'll rise up on the inhale, pivot around for your exhale, and bring your knee into the chest. Foot down for Utkatasana. And fold as you melt chest to thighs, head to shins. Halfway up for an inhale, and step or jump chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing inhale, downward facing exhale. Okay, so have a little look-see up here for a sec. So I'm gonna attempt handstand in a different way. This leg, the top leg, you'll notice I can only get it like this high if I'm keeping my hips square. So I'm gonna lift it higher and open the hip, leaning forward. Then the catch is, as soon as my second leg comes up, I have to plug it into the socket. So my right leg is lifting, my left leg is the bottom leg, and I'm now thinking hip back, so that your hip and leg joint does the same thing that your arm did here. But it's very much less dramatic. So give it a try. We'll go for like probably a minute because it takes a lot of experimentation to start to figure this out. We really want to do as small of a jump as possible. So that's why you'll get your top leg to first lift as high as it can. If we were really, really flexible, we'd have even less of a jump. But because we're kind of normal build, we let the hips stack so that our top leg can go over, and then the second leg, we have to very immediately plug it in. So make sure you try both sides. And when you've had enough, we're just going to meet in down dog, like in another maybe 20 seconds. Carrie, it looks like your shoulders have to go more forward because you're keeping everything a little too kind of conservative. I think the fear factor is alive and well in your house. Okay, let's meet in downward dog. We will try that again. As you get more opened up in the hips and hamstrings, that's going to change. So literally, like in 20 minutes, you'll have a different thought about that entrance to handstand. From down dog, walk the hands back to the feet. Slide the hands under the feet again. Handstands. Inhale. Concentrate on drawing the belly in as you fold. So it feels like there's a space or striving for a space. Okay, straighten the arms. Let's walk into downward dog again. We'll just step the right foot about 3/4 of the way forward for twisted triangle. I said no twists, but I meant no like crazy twists. But this one, you know, we gotta do it. So we'll try to look up at that right thumb. We'll push into the ball of the right foot in order to get that right leg a little straighter. If your hamstring is on fire and the leg can't get straight, just put your left hand on a book or on a block. Okay, we'll untwist. Left leg a little further back for Asana with a chest opener. We'll reach back for the ankle. Yesterday we took our foot to the ground. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to let the heel move away from our butt. And we're going to bend the front leg like crazy. So we just end up in a chest stretch. You'll feel it in your quads as well, but emphasize the chest by rolling your shoulders back. Okay, release the grip. We'll lift the back knee. We'll twist to slide the left arm over that right thigh. And if you can, if you're not going to do prayer, you can feel free to do prayer. Otherwise, left hand to the floor, but reach your right arm out to the side and play with the arm in the socket business, just like you did in Parshvakonasana. This is Parvrita Parshvakonasana. It's the same concept as once your arm is in the socket, then you extend the arm over the ear. Back heel can be up or down. It's a lot harder to get the arm in the socket after you've reached over the ear. So if you do it before, set the pace, it's a little easier. Okay, let's unwind. Lower the back knee to the floor again. There's your Anjaneyasana. Turn it into Ardha Hanuman. Straighten the right leg. Rebend, exhale. Re-straighten, inhale. Flex the foot as much as you can. Rebend, drop the hips as low as you can. And we'll re-straighten, meeting there. We'll stay with the leg straight, but we'll start to spin the foot. So angle the toes to the right, then point the toes, and angle them in and flex. And just like twice in each direction, keeping the quads engaged the whole time so we're not bending the knee. Your foot may or may not be able to touch the mat in all spots of the circle. Okay, we'll rebend that knee and just step back, vinyasa. We get to do it all on the other side. So from your down dog, just step your left foot up 3/4 of the way forward. Line up the heels. Decide where you want your right hand to be. And reach the left arm up. I used to be addicted to the adjustment in this pose because every few days I would get a really great back crack. And I can't manage to get that without the teacher cranking me into it. Okay, let's unravel. Step back for your Anjaneyasana. I'm gonna step forward because the cupboards are here. My space is very small today. So we'll reach for that back ankle. We'll interlace the fingers and just start to open the chest. See what happens if you bend your front knee one more inch. Okay, then let that go. We'll lift the back knee, find your twist, right arm over the left leg, either a prayer position or the right hand is down. If the right hand wants to come down but can't touch the floor, you can be on fingertips or the block. Back heel up or down, left arm plugs in, and then we sweep it over. And you can play with that for as long as you need to. You don't have to enter full pose on breath one. Okay, untwist. Make your way to Anjaneyasana. Inhale for Ardha Hanumanasana. Exhale, bend the knee as much as you can for Anjaneyasana. Again, inhale like your toes want to touch your shin. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And this time we'll circle the foot twice in each direction, making the biggest circle you can with your toes. Okay, and from there, make your way to downward dog, vinyasa if you'd like. So we'll try again the leg in the socket style of handstand entrance. As you're approaching it, lean forward. Look how forward my shoulders are going. So it's mostly shoulders over knuckles. Then one foot will step in, and I'll keep my shoulders there as I kick the top leg up. And I'm thinking of squeezing a block with my forearms. And that top leg, we're not going to aim it for the wall. We're going to aim it for the ceiling, as far up as you can. So just try it a few times each side. And if we can get that bottom leg to plug into the socket, we're going to feel a little denser. It will feel less like flailing and more precise. Good, and let's return to downward dog. Step one foot forward, doesn't matter which one. We're going to turn to Prasarita. So we square to the long edge of the mat. Toes facing the long edge. Let's reach for our big toes, first two fingers and thumbs. Inhale and fold, exhale. This is Prasarita Padottanasana D. And we're using the strength of our arms to help us stretch the hamstrings because we're kind of pulling ourselves through the legs. Adam once described it as it feels like you're trying to pull your toe off your foot, but your toe is pushing down and it refuses to detach. Okay, let's straighten the arms, pivot to face the right leg. If you need to spin so that's the top of your mat and you feel more comfy with that, feel free. We'll bring the hands to that knee and we're just going to hang out here for a moment and try to work the scissor action of the legs to keep us square. If we relax too much in this front leg, yes, our hip will go lower, but we will get out of square. We will kind of veer off to the side. Let's move that left knee back maybe 8 or 12 inches and do the same thing. Takes a little more work here. You're going to start to feel your right hamstring fire up because this right heel is dragging back to help keep us square. Let's go back a little further. At this point, you might want your hands on the floor to help because there's a lot of work otherwise in the legs. We're not going to go to full split just now. Take one more breath here. Like you're trying to get your feet to actually touch each other. You're trying to avoid a split. And let's walk the knee, the back knee in again. And if you ever have socks on a hardwood floor, if you were to slip and end up in a split, that would be very unpleasant. So it's the same idea of trying not to slip. Let's just change sides. You can pivot or you can step. I stepped. We'll just start in a normal Anjaneyasana, hands on the knee. And this pose looks really easy. And you can make it easy. You can just hang out and kind of bide your time until I kind of call the next thing. But better use of your time because you're here anyway. You might as well work the legs like mad. And notice, I don't know if this will come up on a video because it's kind of subtle. But if I completely relax, my hips are this low. If I scissor, I go to here. It's maybe like a 4-inch difference, letting it all hang out versus scissoring it in. Let's back up the right knee a bit. But as we know from things like handstand balances, every inch really counts. So we are thinking left sitting bone to heel, but it has to move at the same rate forward as the right side. Let's go one more iteration of length. Hands up or down. Don't make it impossible for yourself. So if you get nothing else from this pose, I hope that you understand split is not just a flexibility pose. You have to be strong enough to hold yourself up and to hold yourself square. Okay, let's meet in downward dog. Vinyasa if you can. Okay, let's try the first style of handstand again and just see if you've changed your opinion at all. So one foot will step forward. We're going to press our thumb and pointer fingers down and in toward each other, and we'll touch the knee with the big toe. If that's going well for you, start to slide your big toe up your leg until it touches the foot. Stay for as long as you'd like, and then we meet in a resting place before we do the other side. Because you can then gather your thoughts, gather your bandhas again. Good. All right, so let's try the other side, because you'll probably have a side that is kinder to you, less humbling, strokes our egos a little more. Let's do the other side. So make sure you lean forward and the arms stay straight. And it's just like Pincha, which we've worked on for months. You can find the balance and then decide if you want to mess with that leg or not. You do not have to know in advance what you're going to do. You see how it evolves once you're up there. Every time I look at the screen, I just see Carol's legs. She's hanging out upside down a lot today. That's funny because I know Carol's wrists are making her do something that's not handstand. So she's very comfortable forever. She'll stay there forever. Good. Now, Ashley, keep straightening your arms. That'll get you over the hump. Okay, let's meet in down dog. We'll try again later. Let's bring our right leg into pigeon. And first, just downward facing pigeon so we can get into that right hip a little bit. My technique lately is my left forearm under the right foot and right hand out to the side to prevent me from falling over onto the right hip. It's kind of it's the same idea as those Asanas that we made long, but I don't feel like I have the strength to do it without my right hand. So since I have a hand, I'll use it. Okay, let's rise up and pull that right foot in closer to your left hip so it's not quite such a angle. We'll prop ourselves up on the fingers, either here or reach back for your ankle like you did in Anjane and kick. And the more you kick, the easier it is to stay up. And it starts to feel amazing in the pectoral muscles, which sometimes in Ashtanga, especially from all the chaturangas, we have overdeveloped these muscles. So we need to balance ourselves a bit with some stretching. Okay, let's release the back foot. We're going to rock to the right hip, straighten the right leg, and then rock to center again. So now we are in Hanumanasana. You could bring your back knee in more so that you're not quite as lengthened. You can do a Anjane again. Does not have to look like a split. Take 2 more breaths. Lisa, I think your back foot is too far toward your wall. Move it to the left. Yeah, good. Okay, let's get out of there and just change sides. Pigeon, left leg. Downward facing pigeon so that it's more of a forward bend. Then you can really concentrate on that left hip opening. Okay, rise up, bring the left foot in so the heel is closer to the right hip, and either prop up on the hands or reach for the ankle, interlace the fingers, that back foot flex. Let your shoulders move back. Let your chin lift up as you kick so much that that would be the natural progression. Ashley, what happened, girl? You think I can't see you, but I can. The computer's right on the counter in front of me. Okay, let go of the back foot. Extend the left leg out. So you just rock to the hip to get the leg out of the way, and then you come center again. I have a view of a toaster oven, my computer, and a microwave. So stretches like these do help our handstand because then we have less push that we need to actually get up into the balance. We can do more of a graceful tilt into the balance. But we will probably be doing stretches like this for our whole lives to help with handstand. And it won't be enough. So that's why we have to learn how to kind of plug the leg into the socket or maybe tap the knee. There's a lot of various ways in. So let's get out of splits, either vinyasa or just go to downward dog. Make sure that you're breathing. From down dog, just walk your feet about 12 inches forward. And still push into the hands and arms straight, so it's like just a really short downward dog. Belly in. Bring your feet so they're maybe 12 inches behind your hands. And we'll come up onto the heels. We're just going to shift our way forward, and we'll watch our fingers react. We'll shift our way back again and give the hands and arms a break. And shift your way forward. Your fingers will claw the floor and shift your way back. Your heels will land. One more time like this. Make sure that you can keep your arms straight and then heels down. Okay, so either practice that again, or when you rock forward, bring your right foot to touch your right wrist and then back. And then as you rock forward, your left toes, just touch your left wrist and then back. You're just going to feel your abdominals come on. So if you're not tapping the toe to the wrist, you're still going to feel your fingers work and your arms and shoulders work. But the tapping is just going to give us this realization that our abs, they do know how to fire up if they are presented with this, this need. We wouldn't get our leg there otherwise. Okay, let's come into a squat. Slide your hands under your feet from there. And start to straighten the legs. So we're in that same Padahastasana that we've been in a few times, just to give your wrists a break while working hamstring flexibility and Uddiyana Bandha. Okay, undo the hands, have a seat. You could just go from squatting or not. And let's bring the legs out, I don't know, what is that, 18 inches away from the butt in exact science. Hands under the thighs, and you're just gonna round your back. It'll feel like your shoulders are more or less staying over your hips, but your mid-back went back. Then reach your arms forward. Lower a little bit more. If you have any back pain, keep holding on. Lower a little bit more. And we'll bring the right knee in toward the chest and place it back from whence it came. Then the left knee in toward the chest and back from whence it came. So as you're doing this, just alternating legs, remember that we're always scooping. You can even add a lift and lower. So when your knee comes in, you can lean forward. And when your foot goes down, you can go back more. But make sure that when you do this, you don't feel any strain in the back. And it feels like you're always reaching forward. The abs should be a little bit on fire by now. Okay. Let's return to sitting and bring the hands behind you for reverse tabletop. Fingers faced in. If you have any wrist issues, maybe go to your forearms, and we'll lift the hips up. Okay, lower the hips down. Vinyasa to downward dog. So we just did that little bit of ab work so that we could think about maybe jumping up to handstand. This won't be for everyone. I feel like for me it's a little precarious because if I mess it up, I'm gonna end up at the toaster oven. I'm gonna move my computer so at least I don't end up there. So we're just gonna think of sending our hips over our wrists. So we end up somewhat here. And I'm trying to push my inner feet together. Just like in Bakasana, it helps give that concept of midline. Because if we have the feet kind of flailing around, there's too much to keep track of. So try to tuck it in, knees toward chest. Nice, and if you feel comfortable there, start to press your feet up. You don't have to make a plan in advance about pressing the feet up. You see how you feel in the balance, and then you go. Lisa, you need to lean your shoulders forward more before your feet leave the ground. Okay, let's come on down. So that one is really a mental kerfuffle. Okay, let's come into double pigeon, right leg on top. Kerfuffle is such a good word. We really should use it more. Let's bring the fingers behind, or just slightly behind, like near your hips, and push yourself forward. Eventually your chest will touch your shin. Maybe in the next few breaths, maybe in the next few lives. Okay, let's rise up. We're just gonna lean back and try to lift the feet so our shins are roughly parallel to the ground. And the hard thing here, we're gonna try to squeeze the knees together. They're really not gonna wanna go together. It is so much easier if we do this with our knees open, but you'll feel this in your hips quite a bit, and it's lovely. Okay, double pigeon left leg on top. Okay, and let's rise up. This time we'll lay on our backs, and we'll try to get our legs in a tabletop shape so that our knees are over the hips. And just make sure that when you do this, you have no pain in your back and your back is neutral. If you have any back pain, just put your feet on the floor. It will be fine. You can still do the rest of everything with us. So find this neutral back. It's just a teeny little space, like under the mid back. Nothing major. I have my hands out in like goalpost arms, just to kind of get them out of the way of the camera. You can do whatever with your arms. Let's just touch our right toes to the floor, maybe 3 feet down the mat, and then bring it up again. And then the left toes. But as you lower your toes, don't let your back change its position. And just alternate at your pace. It is, I think, easier to control everything when you go really slow. And if you're controlling it properly, it's a lot of work and it feels really effective. So make sure that when you lower your toes, your back doesn't lift any more off the floor than it did when your knees were up. Okay, after your next trip over to the left, we'll return to the symmetrical shape. Let's hold underneath the thighs, do a little curl up, and just start to rock and roll. If this is going well, hold your shins instead of your thighs and do the same little rock and roll thing. And we'll let this take us to our feet so that we can step back and vinyasa. Okay. So we'll try the jumping handstand again, but if you were struggling earlier with the one leg at a time, by all means, just keep doing that. If you are going to try two legs at once, notice in down dog, your shoulders are back from your hands. You could enter this from this position, but it will be easier if you walk forward first. And then just a minor push. And then a squeezing in. And I'm looking between my thumbs. If I were to look further forward, my feet would wind up on the wall. Keep fighting this, Carol, you got it. Oh, that was ridiculous. I can't even believe it. I was like holding my breath because that was the longest hold I've ever seen in my life. Okay, very good. Let's come on down to our bellies. If you're about to have a breakthrough in your inversion, by all means, stay there. And let's just find Salabhasana B. So when you lower in Chaturanga, you have your fingers kind of by your chest. For B, we're going to slide them back a little further, so it's by the waist. We'll push the pubic bone down, and we'll lift the chest and legs up. But we're not really thinking of so much up as we are out. And if we think more out with the feet, we're going to get our legs straighter. Okay, let's come on down. Slide the hands forward a few inches so that you can come to upward facing dog. And press to downward dog. Okay, A position. So we're just taking them out of order. So this one is arms by our sides, knuckles on the floor. And lift the chest, again, lift the legs. Now it's just a little bit harder to get the same height, but still quite doable. It's tempting to bend the knees because then the feet go higher, but try to reach to the wall behind you instead. Hands under the chest, curl the toes, upward facing dog, inhale. Downward dog, exhale. And by now you should feel like your hamstrings are a bit fired up. Hello, fat thing. Oh, a fat cat just joined me. Cutest thing ever. Okay, rock forward to plank, lower down. Salabhasana C. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Peel the chest up. Lift the legs if you can. Try to get the forearms off of your butt. Reach your knuckles toward your feet. And this will help you come up even higher. Squeeze the legs together. Stay lifted, but release the hands under the chest. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Okay, so you've done 1,000 handstands today. We're going to try the same elements, but in Pincha mayurasana, which then is a little more backbendy. The first one we'll do, we'll go from easiest to hardest. The first one will be the toe to the inner knee. So from your down dog B, one foot will step in, the other will lift, and we'll touch. There it is, somewhere in there. I'm going to touch the bottom leg's toe to the top leg's inner knee. And you can either stay there or slide your leg up to a straight leg pincha. One of the interesting things is when we're doing handstands, we're getting really strong in the shoulders. And it might make Pincha a little harder because then you're not quite as flexible. Good. And when you've tried both sides, come on down. We'll just meet in Virasana so that we can kind of wait in a symmetrical place. Now, Sean, point your toes. Yes, you gotta have pretty feet. Okay, so from your Virasana, we'll move the hands back like we did for reverse table earlier. We'll lift the hips. I've made y'all do this pose a lot lately. It's really good prep for Laghu Vajrasana. So if that's a pose that you struggle with, this might be something to put in your repertoire because you're practicing right now how to push with your feet to get your hips up. Okay, let's lower the hips down and press to downward dog. Let's rock forward to plank, lower down to the belly. We're going to go for Dhanurasana with the wrists crossed. So reach your right hand to your left ankle. You'll rock a little bit to the side to get that grip. Then slide your left arm alongside your low back. Then rock over to the right and grab onto your right ankle. So the wrists are crossed. The inside edges of the big toes are touching. Then start to kick. If you can't manage to cross the wrists, no big deal. Just reach your right hand to your right foot, your left hand to your left foot, and kick. And wherever you are, push your pubic bone down. Okay, release the grip. Hands under the chest. Inhale, we will do the other side soon, but not just yet. Down dog B. Let's just go there. So the elbows are behind the wrists. Head is off the ground. Thumb and pointer are pushing down into the mat so that the hands don't move. And so that the weight stays on the inside edge of the hand. For a few more breaths, either stay here or walk your feet closer to your elbows. But don't let anything else change. So your hands don't slide in, your elbows don't slide out. Your head does not clunk into the floor. You're still pushing down through the ground. Okay, walk the feet back again, straighten the arms. Let's rock forward to plank, lower down to the belly for Dhanurasana with the other side. So now we reach the left hand to the right ankle. We slide the right arm along the back so it can reach to the left ankle. It takes a little bit of wiggling to get there, but you'll know you're there when your big toe edges are touching. Start to kick. Get your heels high off your butt. Let the throat open. This is one of the few back bends from the belly that I can actually feel my thighs lift off the ground. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Hands under the chest. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog into Anahatasana. Knees down, arms either out or bent. Since I have this little drawer here, I'm going to put my forearms up the wall and then drop the chest. And we used to do it this way at AYC when we had a studio. It's pretty gnarly, but it feels really nice on the triceps. You just have to make sure that you're drawing your belly in. Otherwise, it's too much in the back. Okay, somehow get out of there and just press the downward dog and rest for a moment. Okay, let's come to hands and knees. So we will do Pincha again, just tying this into another day. So remember we were doing this, I have no idea what day it was, but we were pressing the leg away and then bringing it back. And we realized that when we press out, it's actually easier. Same thing with Pincha. So I'm seeing some of this. I'm just going to imitate for a sec. I'm going to exaggerate it. So I'm seeing this. See how my top leg is bent? Sure, I can get there, but it's a lot harder. So keep your leg reaching up as much as you can. And we're going to try it this way, which you did in your handstand. So I'm going to let my legs stay scissored open, and this bottom leg, I'm trying to push the hip back so I get the leg in the socket. And once I feel that, if I want, I could bring it up, but you don't have to. And it's a nice option because then if you fall out of it, you just go to the floor again. So give it a try. So your hip will stack a bit as you're kicking, but we want to kick minimally and then plug the leg into the socket. And you'll notice all these inversions, it's kind of the same. Yesterday they were all from headstands, but the concepts of lining up our joints, it's the same. Nice, Carrie, that's going better. Ooh, girl. That's way better than it was 30 minutes ago. Okay. Good, so when you've had enough of such things, we're gonna come onto our backs for Setubandha Sarvangasana, holding the ankles if possible. That would mean that your feet have to be pretty close to your butt. And you might have to rock a little side to side to get your shoulders to go under a bit. Try pressing hard into the heels. Anchor through the feet. Now just pretend you have a block between your knees. Gently squeeze the block. And notice how that changed your pose. You don't actually have to have a block there. You just have to think about it. Okay, release your hands. Come on down to your back. Take a breath. Let's lift again, either into your Setubandha with fingers interlaced or Urdhva Dhanurasana. And once we're up, we're going to bring one foot to touch the other knee, just like you did in your inversions. If you can balance there, extend the leg up to the ceiling. Take your time doing the other side. So you wind up with that leg pointing up. I'm gonna watch. Lisa, your feet are a little bit ducked. I don't know if that's intentional. Not intentional, okay. So then you have to turn them what you think might even be pigeon-toed, because then also your leg will go straight up. It was a little bit out to the side. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like when I brought my sound, I didn't have a concept of where it was.
Say it again.
I felt like when I brought my foot down from being up, that I just didn't have a concept of where it was coming back down. So I just need to pay attention when I bring them.
That's easy to do. So let's try it again, either same way or from Viparita Dandasana. So one of the things I like to do before I lift up to any back bend is peek around to the side and get the outer edge of the foot lined up with the edge of the mat. Literally looking with your eyeballs. And then when you come up, it might feel a bit pigeon-toed, but it's actually not. And then maybe you want to go to Viparita, which is on the forearms. And then maybe you again lift one leg. Placing the foot down is going to be a little trickier because you can't see that it's landing where you want it. You just kind of have to feel it. Okay, good. So let's try Pincha mayurasana again, because I know you love it. But this time we're going to try it the third way that we tried handstands, which was 2 legs at once. This is going to be trickier than handstand to get 2 legs, usually, for most folks. Because the shoulders are kind of, I don't know, we're stiff. That's what we are. So there's a bit of a bend and then a launch. And I feel my feet touch. My knees were out to the side to make it a little easier. And once the feet touch, you can decide if you want to extend the legs once you're balanced with the feet touching. So you got to figure out how are you going to get your butt over your shoulders. And if the answer is 1 leg at a time, so be it. That is a valid answer. And Miss Carrie, you don't have to bring your feet so close to your butt. You could do even like, think more about your butt, less about your feet. So maybe keeping your feet even further out. Because otherwise you don't get your butt far enough. Okay, good. So most of us have walls because we've been using them for all this stuff. So we're going to try Ustrasana against the wall. So we'll walk up to the wall and glue our hips to the wall. You can have your toes tucked or not. I'm going to tuck mine because I feel like my heels are really far away today. And we're going to try to reach for our heels without letting our pubic bone come off the wall. It will be easier if you let it come off the wall and then push it back again, or push it forward again, I should say. But if possible, keep it on the wall the whole time. And let the chest open. Nice. Good. Slowly rise up. And just take a rest, kneeling, whatever that looks like for you. Whew, my heart beats so fast when I do back bends. All right. So we'll try another form of Ustrasana, still with the wall, but we're going to turn the other way. We'll untuck the toes and we'll make the wall go like a little more than an arm's distance. We'll reach up. I like to sometimes link the thumbs as I reach up because otherwise the arms go crazy far out to the side and it makes it hard to deal with the shoulders. So you might want to try that, linking the thumbs, and we'll push the hips forward as we reach back for the wall. Once you get as low as you want, push. And I was trying to straighten my arms when I was pushing, but I was unable to speak. Good. So the good news is we're going to try that again. We all, me included, came up super sloppy with our arms. So we were all real diligent about keeping it together when we reached back. And then when we came up, we were like flailing. So let's try this time to keep the streamline even on the way up. We're gonna make it through regardless of whether it happens gracefully or not. So reach up and back. And I like to look a little bit forward as I do this, just so that I don't go too much. Stay about 5 breaths. And as you come up, try to squeeze your elbows in a little bit. Ooh. I start sweating immediately. So hard. Okay, so that's gonna make Pincha really easy, however. So let's try to do an increased back bend in Pincha. The prerequisite for this is being able to balance in Pincha. So say I am practicing that. I'll go here first, see how it feels. If it feels good, I'll straighten the leg. If it feels good, I'll increase the balance. So you don't have to decide now where you're going or increase the back bend. You don't have to decide yet, see how it goes. First step is, can you balance? And then you get your legs to squeeze together. And then maybe if you're increasing your back bend, your legs come apart again. That's a whole other ball game. Good. And if you're increasing your back bend, look forward more and more and more. The other way forward, toward your fingers. Ooh. And Sean, if you kept looking through your chest, you could take it to Viparita Dhanurasana from there. Which maybe we'll have to do in a moment, actually. That sounds kind of fun. But let's practice Laghu Vajrasana because I mentioned it earlier. So take your rest if you need it, vinyasa if you need it, I'll just show you. So earlier we did this, where you had your hands behind you, and you were pushing the pelvis up. So that is the essence of Laghu Vajrasana, is how can you keep your pelvis up even though your shoulders and head are coming down? So the hands are on the ankles. You might just work here. You might kind of go back and forth a bit. I'm just always thinking pubic bone up, even if I come all the way down. There is no moment in this pose that your glutes can relax. So give it a try, or do what we did earlier, which was a kind of a prep with the hands helping. You're gonna feel it in your glutes in the prep also. Squeeze the knees together. Yes, especially in that moment on the way up when it feels real sticky, where you wish there was someone to pull you up. Good. So when you've had enough, downward dog. I'm a little fearful of jumping or dropping back into Viparita in this space because I feel like I'll somehow knock into the counter. But if you'd like to go that route, because you've been prepping for that. As an alternative for me, I'm just gonna do scorpion instead. But it's pretty much, if you can do one, you can do the other. I might go anyway because it's kind of fun. So, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm backing up. So, start in your Pincha. Take your time finding your balance. And if you don't know what I mean by going into Viparita from here, then feel free to watch me. I'm dropping the feet, increasing the back bend, and then I'll let my head go so that my feet can go. Thud. Thud is the sound of Viparita Dhanurasana. And if you wanted to land your feet on a wall, you would have then the ability or the choice to walk down the wall. Good. And Sean, separate your feet a little bit more. Yeah. So now they're more parallel with your knees. Good. And when you've had enough of such things, let's just sit on our butts and extend the legs out in a V shape. So easy to sit here. It's so easy. Okay, thumbs to inside of the palms, curl the fingers over, forearms parallel to the floor, and just turn the knuckles down. So we stretch the inside of the wrist. Okay, shake it out. Either keep your legs like this or separate them more. It won't really look like Salabhasana, but you know, if I'm out this much versus the V shape, now I have to work the legs, press them into the floor. Okay, we'll place the left hand flat on the ground, and with the right hand, we're just gonna pick up the right thumb, then pick up the pointer finger, just let it flop down, and then go through all the fingers, and go back again over to the thumb. Now do that same thing with your fingers facing into your body, if possible. And it might feel a little bit more difficult, so maybe you don't lift the finger quite as far. Okay, and then release that hand that was on the ground, place the right palm flat, and if the fingers face front, this is pretty easy. And even though it's easy, it's good to, you know, get some articulation. Then flip it around. There's already a stretch here in the forearm, so if you can, pick up each finger one at a time, and it'll just make it a little bit worse. That thud is my finger landing again. I don't know if the audio is picking it up. Okay, let that go, and bring the legs in. Let's just sit with the legs crossed for a moment. Crossed, however. Interlace the fingers, reach the palms up. And tip over to one side, but not so much that your sitting bone comes off the ground. And rise up through center. So you're just using your obliques here, over to the other side. You don't even have to know what an oblique is to use it. That's the good news. Inhale through center. That's a good parallel that has been made between things like exercise or meditation. You don't have to believe that it works to have it work. If you go to the gym, every day you're going to get stronger even if you don't believe it. Sometimes things happen on a subtle level that we're just not really able to grasp. Okay, we'll come through center again. Release your arms, legs out straight. And let's fold over the legs. And they don't really have to be straight. If you prefer to have your knees bent, by all means, do that. I like to use the forearms outside the knees to help squeeze the legs to the midline a little more. And let's rise up, cycle through your vinyasa. Walk the hands to the feet for crisscross applesauce. We'll start by bending the knees to get the chest on the thighs. Reach the arms around the shins, cross the wrists, hands to opposite shin. So the chest on the thighs, the head drops. Now we just lift our butt inch by inch. Release the grip, return to your downward dog. Take a little scan of your body here. decide if there's anything else you need. And when you're ready, come through and lay back for your Shavasana. If you have time for an epic Shavasana, just sign out of class now so that we don't interrupt you. And you could stay for 40 minutes.
Hey, when's the cooking class? Hey, when's the cooking class?
Let's start to bring the knees into the chest. And just give yourself a hug there. And lift your legs straight up. So it's like legs up the wall position, but there's no wall. And just feel the heaviness of the legs help your hip settle. The femur kind of comfortable in its home. And bend the knees again, roll to the side. And gently push to sitting. Let's walk the hands forward So just cross the legs some way, but walk the hands until they will go no more. And some of you then can come onto your elbows. We'll bring the hands together. Drop the head toward the ground. Namaste. I pulled this little boy closer to me for Shavasana. He was just off of the screen. Oh. I know what I can do.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
Happy New Year,
I'm
everybody.
gonna change this so maybe the sound thing is not gonna be weird.